Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we're discussing Farscape, Season 2, Episode 11. Look at the Princess, Part 1, A Kiss is But a Kiss. John gets mixed up in the politics of a royal family and must choose between a future there or a future with Scorpius.
Sounds like an easy choice when you frame it that way.
Yeah, well, that's the crux of this episode is when John says, "Nothing you can say will change my mind." And Scorpius just walks in and says, "Hi!" That's his mind is immediately changed.
It's believable, too. Yeah, I would choose anything else.
The Empress calls Scorpius an abomination right in front of his face.
He knows.
Before we delve into the details, how did you find this?
Well, it's the first parter of a multi-part thing. And so it's doing a lot of setup, and it's not completely satisfying on its own, but it's not supposed to be. But I'm interested in what they've shown, and there was enough in there to keep me going. I wasn't bored or saying, "Hey, come on, get on with this." So I thought it was pretty good.
There's content here. There's quite a lot of funny bits. I found myself laughing at this one quite a lot.
It's funny, and it has what I'm going to say is my favorite pop culture reference that John has ever dropped, which is Reverse King Arthur.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was very funny. That's one of those little details that you forget, and when you rewatch, it just hits you all over again.
It's so good, and it's appropriate to the situation. Only he is going to understand what he's talking about, and it wasn't a one-to-one comparison. It wasn't him literally pulling a sword out and say, "Hey, this is like King Arthur." It was clever. It was really good.
References for the sake of references tend to be pretty bad. I love how his mind thinks that was what that's what he came to. Reverse King Arthur. This was a very sexy episode.
Well, it had sex scenes. Well, not really. Well, there was sex in it, but I wouldn't say it was sexy.
There's a lot of kissing.
Okay, it's semi-sexy.
There is 2 sex scenes, both of which were played for laughs.
I love the second one. The second time John interrupts their sex, because he doesn't even acknowledge it. He just walks in and starts talking, and then the Dargo, "All right, I guess we'll talk about this right now."
He even says, "Oh, hey, Chiana," like he didn't notice. He's got problems, so it kind of makes sense.
It felt oddly appropriate that he handled that situation that way.
Well, they've got the rest of their lives to snuggle up. He's in quite a difficult situation. I guess Scorpius makes him act in a panicky way. Scorpius only had a few minutes of screen time in this episode.
He pulls off a Hannibal Lecter here. Not on screen much, but his presence is felt.
Yeah, it weighs down the entire episode. Not in a bad way, but it gives the character drama a lot of push. Which is hilarious, because if it was Crace, then that wouldn't happen.
No, not at all.
We also find out some stuff about Scarens.
Like?
What they look like. So Scarens have been mentioned in Season 1, that Scorpius was a Scaren half-breed.
Oh, okay.
And now we see a real Scaren. Not that Scorpius is not a real Scaren. That sounds very dismissive.
None of these silly half-breeds.
Yeah, A purebred Scarron.
I like how they look. I enjoy the how their face projects out. I really like when they deviate from just humans wearing makeup or light prosthetics. I know it's expensive and they can't always do it, but I appreciate it every time.
They don't need to do it every time, I think, as well, because once you do it, some of the time it lends credence to the ones that aren't crazy.
They stick out more.
Yeah.
This guy wasn't super expressive in the way he could move his face, but it didn't bother me.
He seemed to only really have one mood anyway.
Yeah. Maybe if a scene called for him to be really happy and jovial, that would be a problem.
Yeah, they're safe. That's not going to happen. He's grumpy-faced, grumpy guy that will never be happy. Speaking of cool creature makeup, did you see there was a Sheang in the background at the kissing party?
Is a Sheang, whatever you just said,
Sheang.
Is that the toad guys?
Yeah, they breathe fire.
Oh yeah, I did see that guy.
What's he doing there?
Having some kisses.
Like when Aaron and Rigel turned out to be compatible.
I like that scene. I like when Rigel talks about, well, he didn't talk about it here, but whenever Rigel says or implies that everyone else is gross, because everyone talks about him being gross, but his idea of what is disgusting or not would be different, or could be different.
Yeah, the grass is always greener. I was just about to say the same thing. When they spit afterwards, they both spit in.
Yeah.
Well, he's hanging about on a ship full of disgusting, lanky, tall, weird guys.
It's nice that they don't only pile on Rigel. Oh, he's the little gross guy. No, they're all gross to him too.
There's some lack of integration in the crew in this regard, but it's both ways. Did you notice anything weird in this episode?
Yes.
Okay, go.
John says expiry date, and an American would never say that.
He is American, so
yeah, so he wouldn't say that.
So you just said it.
I'm pointing it out. I wouldn't say it in regular conversation.
What would he say? Expiration date, or?
Yeah, Americans say expiration date.
But Ben Browder is American.
I know, so it stood out to me. It was weird.
It's a big country. Surely some people say it one way. Some people say caramel and some people say caramel.
No way. It's not like that. It's 100% expiration date. The only way an American would say that is as an affectation, and they wanted to show off, hey, I know words that other English-speaking countries use.
I don't believe you.
It's true.
It doesn't sound credible. There's 300 million people in America, in the United States. Surely some of them could say it one way and some of them could say it the other. And I can't believe you picked that out as a weird thing.
Because it's weird.
Well, fair enough. John had a VR child experience as well.
That was cool. That was a neat sci-fi thing. And it made my mind go wild thinking about how strange that experience would be.
I found that scene quite moving. And I don't know if that's just because I have kids, or if I would have found it moving before I had kids. I don't know. Did you find it emotional?
Yeah, I did. It would be a weird experience, and it's not physically real, but that's your DNA, and here is a path it could take. That's moving.
Okay, so I'm not just a hollow shell of a person. That's good to know.
Well, in this one instance, we can't rule out that you're a hollow shell of a person.
Oh, fine.
This could be an anomaly.
There's some really clunky lines in this episode that I'm going to complain about now.
Please do.
So, the helper guy, I can't remember anyone's name. I wrote them all down.
Forgetting names is my job.
Tyno. Yeah, I remembered some of the names. Chancellor Tyno, that's it. Tyno says to Clavor, when asked who outranks my orders, he says, "The Empress, your mother." He knows who his mother is. He knows who the Empress is.
Maybe he's that stupid.
Maybe he is that stupid.
He did come off as very bright.
Well, okay, so the other clunky line was also directed at him, which is when the Scarran says his father was Scarran, my race.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah. In case you missed it, I'm a Scarran.
Well, both of those lines, as you pointed out, were directed at him, so maybe it's for his benefit because he's dumber than he's just stupid.
His mum said it was stupid.
That's why he can't rule, because he's a fool.
That's exactly what she said, so yeah, okay. I accept your interpretation. They treat him like an infant.
I really like this. I hope it continues. I hope this multi-parter has more clunky lines and it's exclusively with that guy.
Aside from all this planet stuff with John and Chums, Zan and Pilot had their own adventure.
I guess you could call it an adventure. Not much happens.
They find some fog.
Some godlike fog.
Yeah.
When they describe the signals as familiar and compelling, my first thought was, oh no, it's Talon. I don't want Krace to be in my Scorpius episode.
You don't?
No, that would ruin it.
You really don't like Krace. And that's fine. I don't think Talon will get involved, seeing as he could not even approach the planet.
Anyway, it wasn't Talon, and I was happy.
No, it was the builders.
The builders sound really important, but I don't really know why. What's going to happen, I guess. I'm sure the show will do something interesting and not just, hey, we built you, see ya. But right now, I'm at a loss. But I think I'm supposed to be. It's just an introduction of, hey, this is coming up.
By the way, we found God. Okay, so as this is a part one, obviously there's additional parts. What do you think is going to happen?
The Empress will end up marrying the guy she loves.
Oh,
Rigel will be the secret hero.
Rigel will be the secret hero.
Oh, he was in the beginning. He negotiated the deal so they could enter the place.
Without that, they would have just been hanging about there. Then Scorpius would have turned up. They would have starbursted away.
So you're arguing he's the secret Hitler?
Well, I'm just trying to think it through. Would Scorpius have followed them to where they starbursted? Probably. He might well have tracked them down. So yeah, Rigel is already a secret hero, but he's launched them into a situation which is very out of control. What about John becoming a statue for 80 years?
Obviously, that won't happen.
Because he'll never get to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer again.
Exactly.
I love how Doggo is just like, well, you may never see these people again. Like, Buffy is a person that John knows.
He has to assume that. Why would he think... He's not going to know any real names.
I know. It's
why
just
assume any of them are fake?
If you said, hey, it's my friends Jim, Bob, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and someone would accept that at face value and say, oh, hi.
I think at this point, anytime John says something that doesn't make sense, everyone is really good at dismissing it and letting it go by and not trying to analyze it. Like reverse King Arthur.
John asks Dargo to be his best man. He responds with, I'm with Chiara now. And John just like looks depressed.
I love Dargo's response, and then I love John's response to that. It's funny that he thought he was coming on to him, and then John, instead of trying to explain himself, is depressed that he got turned down.
Not even like he thought he was coming on to him, just like it was some sex ritual or whatever. It's not hilarious or, oh no, it's the gays. It's just, it's just a miscommunication, and John's just like, oh. And Dargo is just so accepting of it as well. He's like, well, I'm with Gianna, so can't, sorry. There was a guest star who we've seen before in a different guise.
I have no idea.
I'll tell you, it's Rona, the little turquoise alien lady, the assistant.
Scurries about.
Did you recognize her?
No, not at all.
It's Francesca Bueller.
Pretend I don't know who that is.
She's married to one of the cast.
John?
Yes, John's wife.
Oh, okay.
Previously appeared as Emily, the bone-eating creature.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if you just happen to notice they're the same, then you're a strange person. Because there's very little in common.
Plus, her head is bowed for most of the episode, so you don't get a good look at her.
She's a strange one. John got zapped in the face.
Well, the throat, right? And then
The throat, yeah. And it started wobbling his face.
Yeah. That made me wonder if that has significance, if something will happen to his voice, or if they can control what he says. I don't know. We have to wait to find out, but it did seem like they wanted to highlight that.
It seemed not like an assassination, but more like they were doing something to him.
Yeah.
They also broke the neck of the guard just by gently turning his head again.
It's an old Sebastian trick. We've seen Crace do it.
Oh yeah, we've seen Crace do the same thing. That's right.
Yeah.
Whenever Sebastians turn their heads too rapidly, they instantly die.
See? It's canon.
They probably should have given him more guards. A lot more guards. Why was there only one?
Because they didn't think anything would actually happen.
That's a terrible reason.
I wonder if you could kill a Sebastian by saying, hey, look, and then they turn really fast.
I think you brought that up last time. And we agreed that it's definitely possible.
Yeah, seems like it.
This one was more convincing than Crace's. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say it was convincing, but it was more convincing.
More than not convincing at all.
Yeah. Do you have a quote from this episode which you would like to share?
Hope, Dargo. It's what keeps you going. You're gonna see your son. I'm gonna get home. Hope. I have hope, or I have nothing.
In this season, we've seen that a lot of the crew are pretty unhappy.
Yeah.
Rigel has stated that the only thing that keeps him going is the thought that he'll reclaim his throne. John and Dargo also have similar problems. It's a bit depressing in a way.
Chiana had the hope of reuniting with her brother, was it?
Her brother Neri.
And then he died.
R.I.P. She got over that though.
Which proves you don't need hope.
Well, she maybe has other hopes and dreams.
Nope, that was the only one.
Okay. Erin has no hopes and dreams.
Why do you say that?
Because she's not a peacekeeper anymore. She has no home to go to.
She has a hope of finding a suitable home.
Her and John shared a lot of character drama. I never even talked about that.
Oh yeah, that's a thing that happened.
Yeah, it's just angst. Fills up part of the episode. It's not bad. It's not particularly amazing. I don't know. It's like trying to eat a sandwich. You have to have bread. If you're gonna do a lot of character drama, you probably need some angst.
I saw it as filler, so I didn't even think to talk about it. I didn't like it right from the beginning when she said, I will not be a slave to your hormones. She was engaging too. It wasn't just him. And so I shut off right there. I thought, well, that doesn't make sense.
I think Chiana was talking the most sense.
That was the only part I liked of that little plot thread. Chiana trying to beat some sense into Aaron.
Well, without all this angst, John would never have got to be friends with Scorpius. So maybe it's worth it. Shall we go on to part 2?
We should.
Let's do that then.